morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. I'm Charlie Pollard. I'm a closing attorney with Mayo McLeod Heller. Love to handle your next closing, so keep us in mind. We're also happy to be a resource for you anytime you have questions. I haven't talked about taxes in a couple weeks, so I figured it was time to do that. There is a little bit of news on the Fulton County tax situation. They just, the bulletin went out yesterday. I guess they figured that they need to actually start collecting money at some point to fund the schools and things. So they're calling it a temporary collection order. So what that means is they're saying that on the 15th, so next week, they're actually going to be sending out bills, but they may change. So so they're going to be bills and they're going to be due and payable, but they're reserving the right to come back later on and say, well, we need a little bit more. The way they've been presenting it so far, it seems like in most situations it's probably not going to change from that temporary collection order that they're sending out, but it is a possibility. Now the way that we're going to handle that at closings, and I assume that other firms are going to do it because it's really the title insurance companies that tell us how to do it. We're going to treat it like a bill, like it's the bill. And we're going to prorate off of that bill, and we're going to collect it and pay it at closing if it's due and it hasn't been paid yet, which is probably likely. So starting the next few weeks, you're going to see people collecting that. But the unique thing this year is that it's possible that the buyers may get, or the sellers, someone's going to get on their bill, and it could be for a little bit more to collect. Now, just like any other situation, the parties agree to reprorate whatever the final bill ends up being. So when it all shakes out, everyone's going to pay their fair share. It's just another layer of possible confusion for these Fulton County tax bills. So there will be bills out in about a week, and they may have some language saying this is not the final. That's all I got today. Again, Charlie Pollard, Mayo McLeod Heller. Thank you.
So your tax bill's out, pay it, but it might not be correct.
Final. Yeah, they may come asking for a little bit more later on.
So you're saying chances are they're not going to say, hey, thanks for overpaying, here's a refund?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
That's generally not the way it works.
Don't see that happen. Well, we have a very special guest today who provided you such a great lunch. That's our very own Charlotte Stormy Adkins. She is our vendor partner for today, but she's also an amazing agent here. And Stormy has a side business with her dad. So Stormy, take it away.
Yeah.
I just want to present some of my things. I am a vendor, and also we do a branding company, which is another level of branding for your business that I wanted to introduce. My dad and our family have been in the branding and embroidery business for over 20 years. We are licensed with other major companies. We just recently signed a contract with a regional airline out of Louisville, Kentucky. We're excited about that. Some of you have seen me walking around. Can I get somebody?
Oh boy, me.
Some of you have seen me walking around with this bag. It is a laptop case. It comes in all sizes. I
was going to say, James Vanna, fair and white.
I found my calling.
We are able to embroider. We are able to embroider just about anything, depending on the complexity of your logo or your team name. We do several products. These are some of the products that we are doing right now. This is a vest. Say you're going out and you're just out on a day, an easy Sunday, and you want to show someone. You may, for the ladies, they may want to do their best, put the vest over a nice shirt, nice pair of trousers, and you're still looking lovely. A lot of the times I see.
Wait, sorry, we want you to try it on and model.
Okay.
Show us up.
This is awesome. I'm just joking. Go, Stormy.
You're good, Stormy. Go on.
I was joking.
It is great.
Excuse the lady. So say you want to go out, this is not my size, but say you want to go out and you just want to throw something on. This is cute and you're still branded, you're still looking neat. You don't have time to do a whole pocketbook. You can put the crossbody and put your ID here and your phone in here. Here's another style crossbody that we have for the ladies. We also have some things for the men. We also will embroider your products. If you have, like men, if you have shirts of any kind, you can send them to us and we can embroider or put any type of stamp on it.
Big A, did you hear that?
Hello.
Big A, she said if you have shirts and need your logo on them.
Yes, we do t-shirts. Here's a, this is a waist pack. It goes around the waist.
Great for doorknob.
And you can put, you know, your cards in when you're walking with your flyers. This is a laptop case I want to show you real quick. It comes all the way up to size 17 inch. This is the 10 inch, which is for your tablet or your iPad. And inside it has a file for, you can fit anything in there, and your tablet right here. You can even wear it, and some of you have seen me wearing it. I wear a larger size. I usually wear it like this, but you can also do a crossbody and wear it like this. If you're going somewhere real quick, you want to do a quick listing presentation, if you just want to do it on an iPad, this is really cute. You don't always have to get KW. We just started the KW line because we just wanted to introduce the products. There'll be more products coming. Last thing is that we also do a driving shoe. Sometimes the ladies, when you're in your heels and your feet are tired and you don't feel like wearing, you know, your shoe, here's a cute, and you're still branded when you get out the car, and you still have a cute. And it's not a Louis Vuitton, it's not a Louboutin, it's not a red bottom, but it's, you know, but it's cute. It's cute enough to fold up. You see it folds and it puts. We also do the slide that you can slide your foot in. Guys are coming with the shoe for you guys, and some more things. Money clips and things of that nature, binders that we're doing, anything that can be with your name. It's just another level of branding. When my dad saw me when I first started with Keller Williams, he said, "You look messy. You know, you look unkept. You know, you don't look together.
Exactly.
You know, you have a pink bag with a blue shoe, and you know." And he said, "If you're gonna go out, at least be branded. At least have something branded on you." And so that's when we started designing that. I also have one last thing, and I'm out of your way.
You're good.
Okay. This is our juke bag. You know, some ladies, when you're carrying your bag and you need to put all the classes that we go to, Ignite, master classes, bold classes, and you want to put your this is cute. When you put this leather handles, it comes in different colors. And if you're going to order, I can take orders. I'm prepared to take orders if you want to place your orders today. You can also go onto my website, which is klccollections.com, and you can begin to order right now. It normally takes right now about 7 business days because my warehouse is in another state in South Carolina. But you'll be able to get that. If you order by Black Friday, we can give, you want to give gifts to people. If you order by Black Friday, which is the Friday after Thanksgiving, you will have it before Christmas. Anything after Black Friday, we will not be able to get to you until January. So if you have orders, teams, listen up. If you have orders for shirts, we can do it. Okay? Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Stormy, you have a question in the back.
How much is
The pricings are on the on my website. All of the
Well,
prices.
just how much is that vest?
This is the vest is I think $35. I had it for $35. My shoe was $25. My bag is okay. Here we go. My laptops, the highest price I have is $60. And most of my goods are leather goods. We do wallets also. We embroider wallets and any type of bags. We really specialize in the leather goods, but we can do any type of shirt, cardigans. We're coming out with some cardigans right now. Men, if you are doing the cuffs, with the cuff, we can embroider on your sleeve if you want your team or something on that, or if you wanted any type of dress shirt. T-shirts we do if you're doing an event. Please let us know. We'd be more than happy. We just need to know. Oh, and I didn't show you one last thing, and I'm going to get out your way. I promise.
Good.
This is the umbrella that we created. You can carry it like this. When you're getting out the car.
Can also be used as a weapon. I'm just
You can also use right. We can put your team name on here. We do towels. Say you want to give a towel set for your client as a closing gift, things of that nature. Anything that can be embroidered, we can just about do. And so this is our KW umbrella that we use.
How much is it all the time?
So we can do this. We can also put your, if you don't want, you want you on there. We can put me on there. You know, just let us know. We're more than happy to create it. But this is the KW line. I hope you like it. It's something new. I thought it would be great. I just wanted to do something great for our office, and hopefully it'll spread like wildfire.
So,
Awesome.
Stormy, go ahead. I want my logo.
Is it
Yes.
the same price? Would it be 20? That umbrella would be $20 with my logo.
What will happen is that when you send us your logo, depending on the complexity of the logo, because embroidery takes is a little bit thicker with the stitching. So depending on how you want it and where you want it on that product, it would normally be no more than a $5 to $10 premium above what we already
But it
charge.
hypothetically could be the same price, or
It would be the
simple?
same price, but then it would be a premium of like $5 to $10 to just be able to get it done. And you know, like if you have like really small, when it comes to embroidery, if you have very small font, it may be hard. You know, you may not be able to see the stitching as clear, so we may need to choose a different type of stamp for you, maybe a heat stamp or an engravement or embossed or something like that.
I can tell you, I used to be in this world, and having a logo set up like that is normally $60, $100 to do it. So to not have a substantial charge, that's huge.
Right.
That's huge.
Yes.
I was gonna say, just as a reminder, if you use them for yourself and or client gifts, you can write them off as advertising when they've got your logo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's an extra. The way we were creating and the way I wanted to present it to you is that it's an extra level of branding for yourself, and that you're constantly branding. And so, you know, no matter what, and it's pretty subtle. We try to make it as really subtle. You know, if you're just walking with a crossbody, you know, I get a lot of. Sometimes I'm walking with. I'll wear some of the products in the store, and I'll just have this on, and they'll say, "Oh, you with Keller Williams?" And I'll say, "Yes." And it's just besides having my pen. If I don't want to wear my magnet, it'll be on this. If I don't want to wear, you know, something, it'll be on. It will be right here, and it will just start a conversation. It's just another level of branding that I wanted to introduce to you, and hopefully that you will embrace it, and I'll be able to do some business with you.
Great.
Thank you, Stormy. It's great to have someone in-house, someone of us that we can help her family by purchasing products through her company and get something that we truly also need. James?
Website one more time.
It's KLC Collections, KLCCOLECTIONS.com, KLCcollections.com. And I will put a flyers in your mailboxes so you can follow up with that. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stormy. That's great. Didn't she do well? Here's another thing you should be very proud of. This is Area 51, which is Brookhaven. And pulled the market share statistics yesterday, and some of you may have seen my Facebook post, but I blacked out the other companies so I could put it on Facebook without hurting their little feelings. And it was kind of fun to see the green is listings, the yellow is sales, and in Area 51, Keller Williams is Keller Williams Peachtree Road. This is just our office. It's totally dominating the market. I sent it to our regional office, and one of them said, "You realize your office is selling 1 out of every 8 homes in Brookhaven," and I had not thought of it from that perspective. So you guys are killing it in Brookhaven, and just because I thought you might be kind of proud of that slide, I have a copy for each of you all. You can pick this up after the meeting, and it doesn't have their names blacked out. It doesn't have their names blacked out. And just so you know, there's a second page attached to it. And on that page, it breaks down the data that creates these graphs. And I thought it might be kind of fun to talk about that for just a second. You all listed over $72 million worth of houses in Brookhaven. You sold almost $48 million. Your next competitor listed $45 million and sold almost $37 million. So you didn't just sell the most, You totally killed it. And I thought you might want a copy of that. I hope you'll come up after the meeting and get those. Get out your pen. I've got some things I need you to write down some dates.
Robin, a question on that?
Yeah.
Year to date?
That is. And thank you. That is a great question, by the way. It is year to date.
And Area 51 is a little bit larger than the Brookhaven, but you can just zip code 19.
It's whatever is in 59, which is the town of Brookhaven and some others.
Okay, so it's inclusive.
Yeah, it's all of Area 51, not just inside the city limits of Brookhaven. Another great question. Got it? Do you think that'd be a good tool for you if you go on a listening presentation in Area 51?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, great. If you ever are going on one and you feel like you need something like that, or you need to find out that information, let us know, because we can pull it up for any area. So, I mean, you know, Paul might wanna know what's going on in Douglas County or something, so.
I might.
I bet he already knows.
Yeah, Kenya might wanna know what's going on there in Powder Springs, we can pull that up for you. Just so you have it. Okay, you got your pencils ready? Next Thursday, the 16th, if you all would like to attend, our Southeast region is doing an inspirational breakfast. And we're gonna focus on some things that have happened culturally in our region to help form the culture of who we are as a company. If you're interested in going to that, we've sent out a link a couple of times. If you need that sent out again, let us know. We'd love to have some of you there. Rumor has it that there's going to be a choir made up of some people you know.
Who's direct?
That would be somebody else you might know. So, it'll be an awesome opportunity. Some people that you know are singing in the choir. That just spoke. Oh my word. So, anyway, thought you might enjoy that. Also, December 7th. That is our holiday party. Same location as last year. We'll get you the details. How many of you have ever gotten to attend the ornament swap and cook-off on December 13th? It is just way too much crazy fun. And I heard that there might be another week's vacation in Maine given away that time, so don't forget that. December 18th, time to be announced, but my house will be open in that afternoon, my personal home for you to come by and enjoy some little festive food for the holiday. I'd love for you to have you. Lisa is next on the agenda. Perfect timing. Come up here and talk to us.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the season.
All right, you guys, we're going to help the Brookhaven Boys and Girls Club again this year, like we do every year. They count on us. Good news is everything's coming earlier this year. They have promised me the ornaments this week, so those will be ready for you guys, and we don't have to return the gifts
Tell them how that works.
I
We've got
will.
a whole bunch of new people.
I
You say
will.
ornament.
But, and then December 14th is when everything's due, so we have a whole month. It's really good. The children at the Boys and Girls Club make paper ornaments, and they write their name and age on the ornament and just one gift that they want, supposedly with a limit of $20. The older kids will often just say, I'd like a gift card to Target or something like that. So each of us, or whoever wants to participate, will take one child, two, however many you want, purchase their gift, whatever it is, return them back to the office by December 14th, and you don't even have to wrap them. It couldn't be easier. You're just either finding that gift or buying that gift card, returning it back to us, and then they come pick them up, and they have a party on the 20th at the Boys and Girls Club and give them their gifts. And we're invited to the party if you want to go. But it's just a nice way for us to help. A lot of those children you know, are living not that well, so they don't get a lot for Christmas, so they count on us. And we've always really helped them, and I appreciate y'all for doing it, and it makes their Christmas special.
Any questions?
So ornaments will be most likely at the front desk, the list of kids, their names, and you just sign up on a sheet for who you're choosing, and just please get it back to us on time. And that's it.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
James,
Okay, let's talk about some classes we got coming up. Oh no, 2 of the classes are already full. Whatever are we going to do? November 17th, we do have our business planning clinic. It has filled up, but due to popular demand, we are going to hold another one. It's going to be a truncated version. It's going to be a 4-hour class on December 2nd. Anybody know what day December 2nd is?
Saturday.
It is a Saturday. So if you can't make it during the week, for those of you who are online, if you want to come, if you're still working a part-time job, please come on Saturday. Be a part of this business planning clinic. It's critical for your 2018. November 27th, Karen is going to be teaching a vision board class. How many have taken a class with Karen, her vision board class? Any testimonials? Yes, Reagan.
I was in the class and I said I wanted to get a new car, and before the class was over, my husband sent me a text about getting a new car.
Once you focus on expands, that's amazing. I'm focusing on $1 million right now. All right, I will be at Karen's vision board class. Thank you, thank you.
Laura?
Oh, so for pretty much since I've started in the last year and a half, I've done vision boards, and I put everything on there from relationships with family members to what I want in the business, personal, professional, all of it. And it was just a constant reminder, and I looked back at my last vision board that I had put away for 16, and everything had come true on it. And so we're actually, as a team, we're getting together, going to the class, and we're all doing our vision boards together so we can all know what everyone is working towards for next year.
Awesome.
Anybody else had experience with vision board and then being amazed?
It's powerful, guys.
Good.
It is powerful. November 28th, Scott Hardy is going to be coming in teaching a Playster website setup course. So if you are, Scott's amazing, by the way. He's our technology guru here. He will walk you through how to turn Playster from just a placeholder on your website, maximizing it to try to generate leads from it. So 28th, 1 to 4, sign up. That one will fill up. November 29th.
What date was that? Oh, it's up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. For your convenience, ta-da. November 29th, Amanda Churchill is going to be teaching a class called Success Through Closings, which is essentially teaching best practices, setting up systems for you to have an amazing contract to close experience. November 30th, McManamy is hosting a free CE event for us, How to Read a Survey with McClung Surveys. So I've heard several people ask me, hey James, what does the survey read? I'm going to say, I'm not telling you, go to that class. Okay, I'll still help you. But regardless, November 30th, sign up for that one. That one will also fill up quickly. Any questions on the upcoming classes?
Just because I'm curious.
Yes.
How many of you have already registered for something on that screen? Yay, that's awesome. Good. Great. If you know of anyone who needs that extra business planning clinic and they didn't get in that one, please tell them that will be a shortened version on Saturday, probably from like 9 to 1. Love
10
to
to
have
2.
10 to 2, my bad.
And what also, if you might know somebody who might benefit from being a part of Keller Williams, it's an opportunity to invite them as our guest to come be a part of that.
Pretty cool? Good. Thank you, James.
Awesome. Sure thing.
Great job. Great job. Well, I know why the room is full today, and it is not to see James and I be funny. So, Terrance Mayo.
Yes, ma'am.
Terrance, how long have you been in the business?
This is my going on 5 years now.
Going on 5 years. And I want to be an encouragement to some agents who started part-time. Terrance started part-time and quickly became full-time.
It didn't take very long.
It didn't take very long. And he is 100% passionate about his lead generation activities and making things happen on the listing side So, 7 steps to 10 listings. Get your pencils out. Ready?
Go.
Set. Go.
Well, great. Let me set this down. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Robin and James, for the opportunity to share. Do you mind taking a picture of me?
You got all suited up, right?
Okay. All right, so I'm here to talk about 7 steps to 10 listings. How many of you have ever taken 10 listings in a month before? Emmett? All right, so let me ask you this next question, Paul. How long did it take you to do that?
It was a builder situation.
So did so the question is,
Leave me alone.
the question I have for you, Paul, did you do it in your first month of real estate?
What's that?
Did you do it in your first month of real estate?
Absolutely not.
Did you do it in your first year of real estate?
No, sir.
Okay, so the point is, it didn't happen overnight, right?
No.
Okay, great, great. So the point I want to say that it doesn't matter necessarily how long it's going to take. Okay, we're going to talk about some steps that if you guys follow, it'll lead you to 10 listings in a month. So who wants 10 listings in a month? Everybody's hands should be going up, right? Okay, so I'm going to be talking to the newer agent who hasn't necessarily mastered lead generation yet. These are going to be 7 steps that you can follow that will get you to that point. And I'm also going to be talking to the experienced agent as well, okay? I know you guys have a successful business as seasoned agents, yet hopefully this is a little bit of a kick in the pants to say if you follow these, you can consistently do 10 in a month. So I'm going to be talking to the newer agent as well as the seasoned agent, okay? So 2 things that I can't bring to the table that you are going to have to bring. Desire and motivation. Okay, I can't bring those to you. You have to bring those for yourself to the table in order to get 10 listings in a month. Okay, you have to understand what is your big why, right? You have to understand what it is challenging you to go after and to live the life that you want to live. Okay, so you have to decide what is your desire and what is your motivation. So you have to bring that. Okay, and the thing about that I'll say is that actions beget results. So if you have a pen, write this down. Actions beget results. What do poor actions beget? Poor results. Poor results. What do audacious, fantastic, over-the-top actions get? Audacious, over-the-top, fabulous results, right? So you have to be willing to do the steps. You have to be willing to show up. You have to be willing to do these things in order to be successful, okay? So the point is, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Okay, it doesn't matter how long it takes. What if somebody said to you, I asked you the question, how long would it take you to be the best mom that you could be to your children? Would it matter how long it took? Would it matter if it only took 1 month, or if it took 5 years or 10 years? Would it really matter how long it took? If somebody asked you, how long would it take to be the best husband or the best spouse you could be to your spouse, how long would it take? Would it matter how long it took? Okay? So it doesn't matter if you can do this in 4 months, 10 months, or 12 months. Now, if you can do it in a month, keep that to yourself and don't tell anybody. Okay? But seriously, it doesn't matter. The point is, I want to challenge each and every one of you, newer agents and seasoned agents, to take some of these steps and put them into action and commit to doing them and create these habits, okay? So one thing I'll say is that if you are used to doing 2 or 3 transactions a month and you go to 10, how is that going to feel?
Busy.
Look to the person on your left, and then look to the person on your right. Now pick the best one you like. Sorry.
Give you an option.
And tell them it's going to feel crazy. It's going to feel crazy. When you go from 2 transactions a month to 10 listings in a month, it's going to feel crazy. Think about it. If you're going 35 miles an hour through a school zone, and then you hop on the freeway and you go 75 miles an hour, isn't that going to feel different? Yes. It's okay. Okay, when you go to 10 listings in a month, You might even forget to put one of them in the MLS. Your seller may call you and be like, where's my listing? You'd be like, oh my gosh, I forgot. It's okay. It's okay. Now, you might forget to put a sign in the yard. The post is there and you drive by and you're like, oh my gosh, where's the sign? It's okay. Okay, the point is that we grow and we learn and we expand. It's like going from E to P, right? When you break through that ceiling, there's a chaotic explosion there. So when you learn how to go from 2 to 3 to 5 to 10, you're growing in that chaos. Just know that you're growing, okay? And that ceiling that you're breaking through, that becomes your new floor. So when you get used to taking 10 listings, all 10 of those may not be great. They may be average listings, but guess what? When you get used to taking 10 listings, then you will learn to take 10 great listings. Okay? You like that, Robin?
I'm over here mesmerized. I'm writing notes as fast as I can. And so far my favorite aha was, it doesn't matter how long it takes.
It does not matter how long it takes. It's the journey. We all start somewhere. Write this down too. We all start somewhere, and nobody starts at the top. Gary Keller did not start at the top. He will tell you, no way, no how, he did not start at the top. Ben Kenny did not start at the top. Even my mentor, Cody Gibson, did not start at the top. They started somewhere, and they learned how to grow. And the expansion team model, which is something that I'm a part of, if you've ever taken ESO, you'll see this model, this hockey stick projection of growth. And in the first 2 years, they'll tell you that the growth is going to be linear, maybe slightly uptick, but there'll be a linear growth. And about year 2, year 3, then it starts to curve up like a hockey stick. So that's what'll happen in your business when you do these 7 steps. You'll be like, man, I'm doing the actions. How many of you are like me? You go to the gym, you're like lifting weights, and you're like, at the end of your workout, you go to the mirror and you're like, hey, where are the muscles? Where are they? I've been doing sit-ups for 100 sit-ups. Where are my muscles? Where's my six-pack? And how many of you have ever dieted before? All day long, you watched your calories, you've exercised, you've done what you needed to do, and then you step on the scale and you're like, okay, how come I didn't lose 20 pounds? We are a society that wants things now. So understand, set your expectations, temper your expectations. Know that it's going to take you a little bit of time. But be prepared for that explosion, okay? So 2 pitfalls, watch out for distractions and temper your expectations, okay? So how many of you know that person that everything they touches turns to gold? There's a few of them out there. It's like no matter what they do, they have the perfect script every time. They know how to say it. They know the right builder that's going to get them 10 listings in a month. They know this, they know that, everything they touch. I hate that person too. Because if you're like me, you're going to trip over and fall face first in the mud. You're going to have to get up, you're going to have to dust yourself off, and you have to keep going. Okay, that's the tool that's in my toolbox, that's the skill that's in my toolbox that I'm not going to let go of. I may not have the perfect script. I may not know how to say the right things every single time, but I'm not going to give up. It's too important to my family, it's too important to me to give up. So just dust yourself off, get back, and keep going. All right, so that's my introduction. So let's get into Cody Gibson. He's the team leader and CEO of Portland Real Estate Group, which is the hub in Portland, Oregon. And then he also has the United Home Group, which I'm a part of. I'm an expansion member of one of the largest. I won't say the largest. We might be the largest in terms of agent count, but we may not be the largest in terms of sales yet. But we are projecting to grow to 300 agents across the country this time next year. Right now, we're about 157. Okay? So this is an old slide. We're probably in about 75 different markets in about 15 states. Cody's been a maps bold coach. He doesn't come east or south very much because he lives in Portland, so he does a lot in the West Coast, but he teaches bold. He's an OP of his market center. Last year they did right about 500 houses. This year we're projected to do over 1,000. Okay, so that's Cody Gibson. Oh, this is some guy who looks like me. I had more hair then, by the way. I'm a partner of United Home Group. I just happened to be with them for about a year now. I was the rookie of the year in my first year of real estate, my first full year of real estate, and I did about 20 transactions and I grossed $190,000 my first full year. So if I can do it, I know you can too. And that's why I'm here to share. So I've been bold twice. I know I need to go more, and it's on my calendar for next year to go again. I was on the ALC one time and hope to do that sometime in the near future as well. And this year I'm projected to do over 40 units in 2017, which will be the most I've ever done. And my favorite food is tacos. Even though it's not Tuesday, my favorite food is tacos. Okay, so here we go. Step number 1, make one listing appointment every single day. Make one listing appointment every single day. So your job when you wake up in the morning should be to not only get dressed and brush your teeth and look presentable, your job should be to figure out where is my listing appointment going to come from. If you look on your desk, you look in your pipeline report, you look on your laptop, you look through your iPhone or your Facebook feed, there's a listing appointment in there somewhere. Your job is to go out and find it. How committed are you every single day to go out and find that? Okay? Lead generation, you guys have heard this before, is that lead generation will find you a sale. Okay? But as you continue to lead generate, you're going to have to lead follow-up, and that will build you a business. Okay? Lead generation will find you a sale, and lead follow-up will build you a business. Okay? So the thing about that is, and this thing moves quick. Lead generation will find you a sale, and lead follow-up will build you a business. Okay? So every single day, find and make a listing appointment. How many of you have come in and you've made 3 or 5 phone calls and you've got a listing appointment? It happens, right? And you're like, yes, I am the best script practice person there is ever. I know my scripts better than anybody. I am awesome, right? Now what happens on the day when you make 48 calls or 62 calls and you have not made that appointment? Do you give up? Do you go home and tell your kids, oh sorry, I made 60 calls but I couldn't get an appointment? On the good days and the bad days, or the easy days and the hard days, the job is still the same. Make one listing appointment every single day. Create that habit, okay? How long does it take to create a habit?
66 days.
66 days. So, if you read the one thing, you'll realize it takes 66 days to create a habit. My challenge to you today is that for the next 66 days, which will be into the first week of January, you guys will be in the habit of lead generating every single day, finding a listing appointment. And when you get into that habit, guess what happens when you're on call 66 and you haven't done it? You don't feel like giving up. You're not going to give up. Okay? So that's my challenge to you, is do not give up. Keep going. It doesn't matter if you made 50, 60 calls or whatever. This is the slide that I want to be on. 10, 20, 50 calls. It doesn't matter. Don't stop. Start your habit today. Okay? All right, so let's move on to number 2. So step number 1 was, you have a question?
I just have a quick comment.
Yes.
If you start that 66-day challenge today, by the time you're in the New Year's, when everybody is making their resolutions and making their plans and how they're going to start their year out right, you're already in the habit. You're already
It was
2
about
months ahead of everyone else.
It was about 7 days ago I posted on my Facebook page, 66 days left in the year. What new habit are you going to create? So we're right there. Like I said, if you start now, why do we practice and why do we look at our business plans now going into next year? So we can start and get the ground running now, because how long does it take to get business? 40, 60 days later, right? So now we're in that time frame to be doing this now so we can build for our 2018. That's a great point. All right, so number 1 was one listing appointment every single day. Number 2, visit the door of a FSBO or expired every single day. Now there are 1 and 2 are not the same unless you're not able to find your listing appointment and you go knock on a FSBO's door and you're able to talk to them and convince them that you're the right agent to sell. Okay? So this is number 2, knock on a FSBO or expired door every single day. So this is what I've been doing over the last several months. So I'm in here from 8:30 to 11:30 making phone calls. If I'm not able to set an appointment to go on and visit a seller every single day, then I'm looking at where's the nearest FSBO between the office and my house that I can go talk to that I haven't talked to. Okay? Cody shared this one time where there was an agent who hated calling for sell by owners, but he and his family needed money so bad. So Cody's like, go knock on FSBO's doors. You gotta get some listings. And so, I mean, this guy was scared. He was fearful of doing it. And so he finally said, okay, fine. I've got to do it. I've got to do it for my family. So the next day, he calls Cody. He's like, I hate you right now, but I'm going to go knock on this FSBO because it matters that much to me. So he goes and knocks on the door. Knocking on the door, scared to death, right? Scared to death. He pulls out his business card. The lady comes in, and he's like, my name is Terrance. Here's my business card. If you ever need any help, give me a call. And he starts running back to the car. And the lady, before he gets to the car, she's like, wait. I do want to sell. Please come talk to me. And he ended up listing her house. Okay? So is that a great script?
But it worked.
The better question is it better than the one you're not using? Right? It's better than doing nothing. If I knock on the door and no one's there, I leave my business card. And I've had sellers call me back and interview for the job of selling their house. If you did this every single day, you're going to talk to somebody face to face, you're going to leave a business card, and they're going to call you back. Imagine if you did that 20 days a month, 12 months. How many opportunities are you leaving out there on the table that you could be listing homes for, right? So I encourage you, don't let that door bother you. The person behind it is not going to eat you alive, I promise. I was talking to, what's your name again? Nina. I was talking to Nina. She came up to me before, and I do Miracle Mornings on Monday, and we were talking about FSBOs and making calls, and she came up and said, thank you for helping me get over my fear because you did what?
I called my first FSBOs today and booked 2 appointments.
Congratulations. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, if I can do it, she can do it, and if she can do it, everyone here can do it, right? It's a matter of getting over your fear, okay? You have to show up and be in the way of good things to happen. I mean, how many of you, this is funny, how many of you have driven by a for sale by owner sign, maybe in your neighborhood or your neighbor's house, and you're like, I need to go knock on that door and talk to them. Okay, and the next day you drive by and you're like, oh, I'll go talk to them tomorrow. I'll figure it out. I'll go knock on their door and see what I can do to help. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, guess what happens?
Somebody else's sign goes up.
There is another realtor sign in front of that yard. And you're like, dang it, Mom, don't you know I'm a realtor? I've been telling you I'm a realtor for 5 years. No, but seriously, we've driven by that house, and with the intent or with the idea that we're going to stop, but we're not intentional about our actions. So don't let that other agent get that listing. That's your listing to help that family, okay? And as I say, everybody starts somewhere and nobody starts at the top. So the first phone call you make, you might be nervous. And yet when you get 2 listings, how does that make you feel? Are you going to stop calling FSBOs now?
No.
You're going to want to call more, right?
Right.
Exactly. We just had our UHG University in Portland a couple weeks ago, and I shared with another partner, we led a for sale by owner discussion, and several people said the same thing. I'm scared. What, they're gonna hang up on me, or they're gonna bite my head off, or this or that. And I said, so what is it? What are you scared of? What do you think they said? Why are most people scared about for sale by owners? Rejection. So let's talk about rejection for a second. Okay, I want to put rejection into perspective. Okay, rejection. I don't know the definition, scientific definition, but to me, rejection is something hurtful and harmful. Wouldn't you agree? If a for sale by owner says no to you, is that hurtful? Maybe for a half a second, but really, is it truly hurtful?
No.
It's not, right? Rejection lives in this box that's deep and hurtful, right? If your spouse came to you and said, you know what, I don't love you anymore, and by the way, I've been cheating on you, and I'm going to leave you, and I don't want to be married to you anymore, that's rejection, right? And I'm not trying to be mean, I'm trying to be realistic, okay? And Cody has shared this, and so I feel it's okay to share it with him, because I have never been in that situation. Yet it was very impactful for me to understand what rejection is. He told me that his mom came to him and his little brother when he was 6 and 7 years old and says, "I wish you were never born. I don't want to be your mom anymore, and I'm leaving." Now that's rejection. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Is that hurtful? It is. Now if a for sale by owner says no to you, that's not rejection. So please, put rejection in perspective. I just want you to understand that, okay? Put rejection in perspective. A seller saying no to you doesn't mean no forever. It just means ask me a different way. Maybe not right now, or I don't perceive value in it. That's what no means. So figure out a way to ask it a different way. Figure out how to bring value to them so they'll understand. And then understand how you can deal with their motivation. I want to match my behavior to your motivation. So think about those things. So I know that's kind of stark, but please understand a no is not a rejection.
I like
Okay?
when you said that, so ask me in another way, or what were the other ones? Those
No, let's see.
Ask me a different way. I don't perceive that not right.
Not right
Yeah,
now.
no means ask me a different question or ask me another way. No means not right now. Or no means I don't see the value in it for you. Okay? Alright. So basically for sale by owners have one hand in the air saying, I want to sell my house, right? And expireds have two hands because they say, I want to sell my house and I'm willing to pay a commission. So when you're thinking about finding listings now, focus on the motivated. These are the motivated people, right? Let's not go to their neighbor who's not interested in selling. Let's go to their door and see what can I do to help you, okay? And as I said, show up, be in the way of good things to happen because you never know when it's going to come your way. All right, so we talked about making phone calls every single day, finding that listing appointment, knocking on a door every single day of a FSBO or an expired. If you're not able to do one of those two things, you're going to have to erase and replace on your calendar, okay? So if you don't do those every single day, guess what you're going to have to do the next day? You're going to have to do it twice. So don't get behind. Do it every single day. Get in that habit of doing it every single day so that you're not going to fall behind, okay?
What time frame do you find yourself doing your telemarketing?
I'm between 8:30 and 11:30 every single morning. On the phone, talking to people, setting appointments, scheduling my day. And sometimes it's an appointment for today, and sometimes it's an appointment for tomorrow or next week. And that's okay too. It's already on the calendar.
Right.
And if I do it within the first 3 or 5 calls, I don't want to quit. I
You're
want
on
to
the
stay.
roll.
I want to stay in that habit of doing it and get as many as I can. I mean, I've done it in here we've done one Monday morning in here. I set 6 appointments. Now, some of those were FSBO pop buys and stuff, but that's my goal, is to get in front of for sale by owners, because I feel like when I get in front of them, I can build a rapport and I can help them understand the value for me to list. Okay? So don't stop at 1 in the first hour. Keep going. Stay in that habit. Yes, ma'am.
You said you do it 8:30 to 11:30 every day.
Mhm.
And I know the answer to this question, but most of the time you do it here in the office, don't you?
I do. Monday mornings, I'm here every Monday. I do it. I know Kiki's there a lot. I know I see several faces that are there over in the second training room as part of the Miracle Morning. So every Monday I'm there. And then the other days of the week, I'm in this Ignite room just for a few hours, focusing on my lead generation efforts in the morning. So that's where you'll find me. If you want to come join me, come join me. There's a few people that come here and there during the week. So I encourage you, if you want to listen, you want to do it together, and we can high-five each other after appointments or ring the bell or whatever you want to call it, we can encourage each other to create that habit.
I'm going to put a bell outside.
All right. Does anybody know Chad Himes? This was Chad before he shaved his head. So I decided he's not here, so I can make fun of him. So. He's also my coach, so I feel like I can do that too. It's all right. Anyway, all right. So step number 3: follow-up Wednesdays. Okay. So as you are in the process of setting appointments and knocking on FSBO doors every single day, guess what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to follow up. You heard that fortune is in the follow-up, right?
Yep.
We talked about uncovering rocks, finding a sale, and then we said the key to building a business is follow-up, right? So follow-up Wednesdays. So what do you say? What do you say? You know, like when you call a FSBO for the first time, you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna use my best script. This is my most awesome script, right? And then you might call them the second time and you're like, okay, I've got my number 2 awesome script. Then after that, you're like, okay, what do I say? I'm gonna share a script with you that you guys can take with you every Wednesday for every seller, every lead that you have. I'm just calling to follow up. What may I help you to do this week with your real estate related plans? How can I help you with your real estate related plans for this week? I'm just calling to follow up. Simple, easy, and when you get off the phone with them, say, you know what, I'll follow up with you next week. And then you call them again the next week and you say, hey, I'm just calling to follow up. What can I do to help you with your real estate related plans this week? Will you work with me? One aha I had last week was a script that somebody was sharing. They said, you know what, we don't ask for business enough. When you're talking to sellers or buyers, ask them, will you work with me? If they say no, guess what? That means not right now. Ask me a different way, or show me the value in why I should say yes. Okay? So if someone says no, that they don't want to work with you, that doesn't mean that you drop them. Keep going. Don't give up before they do. Okay? So that's follow-up Wednesdays. All right, step number 4. Post. I have a buyer post on social media every single week. I know some of you follow my social media, and so I've been posting consistently over the last month or 2 because it's important, because not only do I have buyers, yet I want sellers to know that I have buyers too. And that's the purpose of this. Whether you use Twitter, you use LinkedIn, or Nextdoor.com, whatever social media platform you want to use, that's fine. This is for Facebook, because most people are on Facebook. The thing about it is that you need to be very specific, okay? So I'm not just saying need a Sandy Springs home under $450. How many different types of homes are there in Brookhaven or Sandy Springs or Camler Park under $450? There's a ton of different kinds of homes like that. So be specific. When you make a post, let them know I have buyer John S. or Mr. Smith, Sally P, whatever you want to say. Give a name to that person, because they do have a name. And be specific. I'm looking for a ranch with a finished basement, with a fenced-in backyard, under X amount price. Okay? Be very specific in terms of what you're asking for. The one thing I wanted to share about this is, in terms of posting, the best time to post, and this is a research, sales, business to consumer activity thing, was on Wednesdays between 1 and 3. Wednesdays between 1 and 3, or weekends late morning is when you're going to get the most traffic and the most eyes on that post. So how many of you can set that up on your schedule to be on repeat? Every Wednesday, have a reminder at 1 o'clock to post your buyer post. Can do it consistently. Now, if you're a newer agent and you don't have a bunch of buyers, talk to someone that you know and you trust and that you're willing to learn from in here. Ask them, what are your buyer needs? And post that buyer need. Chances are you might find a buyer, but guess what? You might find a seller that doesn't fit the buyer need itself. So this is for both buyers and sellers. You're going to get conversations. People are going to share this with people they know. They're going to send it out to somebody, and somebody's going to reply back and say something that you don't even know who they are, but it's an opportunity to gain a new lead, a new contact to follow up on. So tell your story every single week. And here's a couple of examples. Here's one in the middle right here. I know it's a little long-winded, but I had 2 buyers that week, so I felt it was important for me to say. So Joseph is looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch with a terrace level, with or without a jacuzzi or a flat backyard to put one in, preferably inside the perimeter under 550. Updated, better, or smaller renovation needed will work. Is that specific?
Yeah.
Very specific. And then down below, David was looking for this. I'm still looking for, anybody have anything on the river with river access under 800,000? If you do, please let me know. They might can go to 9, yet if you know something that has access to
Did
the
anyone
room.
respond to these?
Huh?
Did anyone respond to
There were, I didn't copy and paste it here, but there were a couple of shares and there was about 6 or 7 comments below. Here's another one. Chelsea, she's our operations manager in Portland, Oregon. She posted this one and she actually put a photo. She was specifically looking for a bungalow in Southeast Portland under 500, and she put a picture of a bungalow so people can kind of know exactly what they're looking for. So that's an option as well. Now over here on the left-hand side, Jeff Reyes, he's in Modesto, California. He's done a couple different things. He's taken all of his Facebook friends and he's taken all the agents and put them in a category called agents. So if you want to target your buyers to specific agents, you can do that. And if you want to target just your specific friend audience who are not agents, you can do the same thing as well. So this was just an example of how you can set up your Facebook friends into different categories, and so you can send these posts out to specific groups. Does that make sense? Okay. So when are we sending it out? What time? Or on the weekends, when? Late morning. All right, very good. All right, what you can also do is boost your posts for a nominal fee. It's not that expensive. I would encourage you to do this with your listings, potentially with your just solds, and with your buyers. And with Facebook, you can be very, very specific. You don't have to send it out to 17 million people. Your budget may not allow that, but you can send it out to 1,700 for a nominal cost. So if you can isolate that down to the local neighborhood or community that you're trying to talk to, you can really make it affordable. So consider boosting those posts as well. Okay? All right, step number 5. Every seller, every single week. How many of us as agents feel like customer service is part of our biggest platform? That's like part of our what's the word?
Competitive advantage.
Yeah, it's not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not thinking of the right thing now, but our mantra or our what? Our value proposition. Yeah. Yeah. So how many of you feel like customer service is part of your value proposition? Okay. I want to share these ideas with you, every seller, every single week. Okay.
You're talking about communicate with them.
Exactly. Communicate and touch base with your seller every single week. So 2 by 1. What's a 2 by 1? 2 communications with your seller every single week, 1 electronically and 1 by telephone. You pick the day, but just make sure you communicate with them twice at a minimum. Okay? And I will share with you a 4-legged stool for communication. Number 1, justify what you're doing as the listing agent for their house. Here's what we're doing. Here's the feedback that we've received. Here's how many showings we've had. Here's what we plan to do going forward. Justify what you're doing as an agent. Number 2, stats on the market. Here are the homes that went under contract this past week and yours didn't. Here's the feedback that suggests we make some changes or price corrections going forward. Number 3, revisit their motivation. I want to match my behavior to your motivation. Remember that phrase as you're talking to them. Find out again, why are they selling? Why are they moving? What is it going to do for you if you can get there? Because digging into their motivation again on a weekly basis can help you get that price correction, right?
Right.
If their head saying, my house is worth X, but my heart says I really want to get to closer to my family, then they may be willing to make those adjustments sooner rather than later, right? And then lastly, ask them, what else should we be talking about? What conversations have we not had that we need to have? So consider that 4-legged stool for your conversations every single week with your sellers. So they need to hear from you. You work hard for these listings. You work hard to earn them. Don't just throw them away. If you're like me, having those conversations about price reductions are not easy, are they? Yet if you can commit to communicating with them weekly, those conversations become easier. They expect to hear from you. And as a matter of fact, when you're listening with them, tell them the expectations are, I'm going to be calling you every week, and here's what we're going to be talking about. Okay?
Real quick, on the number 4, what conversations have we not had? Is that their opportunity just for their own
Yes,
feedback
that's
of
the
things?
that's soliciting feedback from the seller themselves.
Okay.
The first 3 are directed by you.
Right.
The 4th one is saying, what else do we need to talk about from you that we haven't talked about? Yes, ma'am.
Do you reach out, so is it supposed to be reaching out? Like, what if your seller calls you first or something, and you end up talking twice by default of what's going on with the property? Like,
Well, in that case, text them and say, hey, I know we said we would talk twice. I know we talked before. Just want to make sure, is there anything else we need to discuss?
okay.
I mean, the more you can jump out ahead of anything like that, I mean, we all know what that awkward silence is, right? Or is that just me? Is that just me?
No.
That awkward silence between you and your seller is deafening sometimes. So this is just a way for you to get out ahead of it. Tell them what the expectations are and commit to doing it. Okay? Alright, we'll move on. Step number 6. Now this says do FSBO deals if you must, but essentially what this step number 6 is, be creative. Be creative. One thing that in our business we've seen in our group is that there's a couple of agents that call for sell by owners, yet they call them to host open houses. So their script is, hey, I'm calling you, I'm not like any other agents, I'm not calling to list your house, I'm calling to see if I can do an open house for you. And I'm like, well, why would you want to do that? Well, 2 things. There's only one buyer that can buy your house, right? Oh yeah, only one can buy the house. Well, there's probably other buyers that aren't going to get that house, and I would like to work with them. So I want to help you find that buyer for yours, and I also want to find business for myself. Can we make a deal? Can we do an open house for you? And what do you think those sellers will do if you do an open house for them a couple of weekends and they see that you're bringing buyers to the table? What do you think is going to happen?
If they want us, they're gonna use you as a agent if they decide not to do.
Do you think they would use you or some realtor that's just calling them on the phone?
Yeah.
There's a great chance. So the idea is to be creative. How many of you have a variable commission rate? We at United Home Group have something called the no hassle listing agreement, and the commission rate ranges from 0 to 7%. Okay, the 0% is we list the house, you find the buyer, Mr. Seller, and you say, you know what, Terrance, I don't even need you to write it up. We'll write it up ourselves, and then we'll just go close the house. Okay, great, no problem. You list the house. Guess what happens? You might find a buyer off of that house, or what are the chances of that seller finding a buyer on their own? Slim to none, right? Maybe 6%, 6% of for sale owners sell without the use of an agent. So these are just ideas to be creative, okay? So if the seller says, hey, we'll
You doing this with FSBOs or just a whole,
I just do it for sale by owners.
for sale by?
Yeah. I just do it for sale by owners. This is a way to possibly get more listings, right? So for 1%, I'll do it for 1%. If they find the buyer and they say, Terrance, we found the buyer on our own, or it's a friend of the family or whatever. I mean, how many of us have written a listing agreement and there's excluding a name on there because it's a family member, or it's a friend of theirs, or they've been a for sale by owner and they've talked to this person or that person. They say, hey, I'll list with you. Yeah, I want to exclude these 2 or 3 people. Have you guys ever done that? So it happens, right? So essentially this 1% is basically saying, okay, fine. We'll list. If this guy over here, or that guy, or that gal, or whatever wants to buy, and you brought them to the table on your own without the use of an agent, then I'll write the contract for 1%. Now, the chances of 0 and 1% happening are pretty slim. Yet, if I bring a buyer, I'll do it for 5%. I list the home, a buyer comes to us, they're unrepresented, we write the contract for everyone, it's 5%. We do it the traditional way, it's going to be 6 or 7%. Which one do you like better? Which one do you think they might be thinking, oh, okay, well, yeah, that 0 sounds great. Where do I sign? It's just being creative. Okay, so I will say some of these things, talk to Robin or the broker to make sure that you're okay. I mean, a lot of you know if you're going to do an open house for a seller, a FSBO, you need an authorization to show unlisted property. Okay, there's a guard form, it's called that. You put a price, you put a commission if something happens. So just make sure that you're gonna be creative and do some of the things, run those by Robin or the brokerage just to make sure that you are in compliance. So nothing that I'm saying is against rules, it's a matter of thinking outside the box, right? Gary Keller talks about find out what agents aren't doing and go do that and perfect that. Because if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're just gonna be swimming upstream just like they are. But if you can find what agents aren't willing to do and go and perfect that, then you can be very, very successful. So that's just an idea. Yes, ma'am?
If we don't have the list, you don't have the listing and you're holding the open house, can you use Keller Williams signs, like directionals and everything to get to the open house, or do you have to buy generic stuff?
Kathy, are you in the room?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get with Kathy on that so we're 100% compliant. I'll send you an email this afternoon.
Thank you. And then
Oh,
also,
that's-
do you have a script, like if the house isn't in great showing, like not how you would normally host an open house, do you have a script for overcoming that? People are like, oh wow, this is really.
Well, that's part of your value, right? As an agent, as I'm talking to our sell by owner, I'm first of all saying your pictures are kind of crummy. We take professional photography. Wouldn't you like to show your house in the best possible way? Another thing we do is we offer a staging consultation. Would you like a staging consultation? Because it looks like you need some staging consultation here. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's part of your value proposition. So when I'm talking for sell by owners, I'm sharing that and say, you know what, when you list with me, here's what you get. That comes with it. I'm not just gonna give that away for free.
But will you host an open house on a FSBO without doing all that stuff first?
I mean, I'll share it with them, and if they say, no, I don't want that, it might depend on the location, it might depend on the price, and how much traffic I think I can get. You know, if it's a house close to a festival weekend, and I know there's gonna be a lot of traffic, sure, why not?
How are you allowed to, I know we talked about signs, but can you do online advertising for that kind of thing?
Depends on what you have in your agreement to show unlisted property and how far you take that.
There's also the non-exclusive listing form. You may want to take a read at that. I think that gives more marketing permission, if I recall.
So that, a non-exclusive means that you're listing it, but anybody else can come and sell it and get the commission off of it if they agree.
Or they can sell it themselves. The
Right.
owner can still sell it.
Right, right. So, I mean, I would say have that conversation, say, look, I will host the open house, but here's what I would like to do to market it. I'd like to post it on Craigslist. I'd like to post it on, you know, have him post it on Zillow for you. Open house, whatever. I mean, I've had that happen before. I've actually done that. I've hosted an open house for sale by owner one time. Only had 2 people come by. The neighbor wanted to know what their house is worth. I ended up listing their house like a year later. The for sale by owner ended up listing with somebody else, was on the market for 90 days. Like day 89, he calls me and says, hey, we've only had like 1 showing. Can we meet tomorrow so you can tell me what you would do differently? I came in, I said, you need to update your kitchen with new granite counters and you need to paint. If you do that, I will list it for the same price. We did that and sold it in less than a week. So it works. And I know there's guys in our group that do open houses for sale by owners, and they end up getting the listings. And a lot of times they end up getting both sides of the deal sometimes too. So have those conversations about here's what I can do to market it for you, and talk to the broker too to find out, you know, what you can do to enhance that. So the idea is be creative, talk to the motivated, be creative and figure out what you can do for them to help them. So get in the habit of taking 10 listings a month. I talked to you earlier about, you know, 10 listings may not be 10 great listings. Yet once you get to 10 listings, then you can focus on 10 great listings, right? And get into that habit. All right, this thing moves super fast. All right, so number 7, practice the presentation. How many of you, I know Ashton was in here practicing or giving us her listing presentation a couple of weeks back or maybe a month or so ago. How many of you practice every single day? I see a couple hands go up. So the question I have for you, are you practicing on your clients?
Did you invite them to a concert you had not prepared for to see you perform?
Exactly. I mean, that's the bottom line. We have to practice on each other. Practice. Here's the 3 people that I would say practice with. Find somebody in the office that is really, really good at presentations. I'm sure Madeline Suits is probably one of the best here in our office. She just comes to mind. Ask her if you can do 15 minutes or 30 minutes one day a week to practice a presentation. Find a newer agent that is not as experienced as you. And the reason I say that is because they will see you at a higher level than them, even though you're not way up here. And yet, you're teaching them. Because when you started, somebody probably taught you something. So you can give back to them and show them ways to learn and show them how to be better at the craft. And then the third person I would say is practice with your coach. Not your mom, not your wife or your kids, but practice with your coach. So if you did that for 30 minutes or 45 minutes a week, you may not be great week 1, but how much better will you be week 4 or week 12 or week 52? So the idea is to keep practicing. So I've got this guy up here. I'm not a big fan of his, personally. However, do you think he practices at a high level? How many rings does he have? 5. Like 5 rings? I know he practices and plays to win. He doesn't practice in the game. He practices hard so that when he gets to the game, he's going to win. We had a guy at our UHG University the other day. His name is Steve Della Vega. He's the Fidelity Title Company Senior VP, and he played basketball in high school and played at a small community college in Los Angeles, and somehow got an invite to the Los Angeles Lakers preseason camp. So it was like the first day of camp, and he shows up an hour early. He's like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to make a big impression. So Pat Riley was the coach at the time. So he gets there, and nobody's in the gym except for Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson had his sweats on, and he was running laps, and he was dripping in sweat, and so he was like, oh, why is Magic here? Is he in trouble? So he asked Pat Riley, he's like, did he do something wrong? He's like, kid, this is him every single day. He's here 2 hours before and an hour after. He practices harder than anybody I've ever seen. And we know Magic Johnson's a Hall of Fame player, right? Right. So he would practice 50 shots from the free throw, 50 shots from the three-pointer at the top of the key and the sides, and he wouldn't leave until he made every single one of them. Because he practiced. When he got into the game, it was like it was easy. Okay? So practice so that when you play, you're playing at a Hall of Fame level. That's my comment to you. Okay, just because I'm a Falcons fan, I put this in here. So when Julio Jones caught this in the fourth quarter.
Who used to be in Alabama.
Yes, he did. Who is number 2, by the way.
Yep.
You started it.
And you finished it quite well.
So do you think he was worried about, okay, do I get my arms out? Where's the cornerback? Where are my toes? Where are my feet? Where's the sideline? Do you think he was thinking about all those things when he went to go catch that ball? It was instinctive because he practices to win. He practices hard so that in the game, he got his toes down, he got as close to field goal range. It wasn't his fault that we lost the game. All right. So this is just an example of all of the cities that United Home Group is in. So if you have any referrals in other parts of the country, and you're looking for an agent, I may know someone, so just let me know. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you, I want to come from contributions. So there's a seller survey that we give on our listing appointments, and also an agent interview that we share during our listing appointments. So I'm going to share that with you just so you can see what some of the things that we do. Now at the same time, it says PRG or UHG on it. All I'd ask is that if you use it, please use it, but put your name on it, put your branding on it, and if you make it better, send it to me so I can take a look at it. I want to learn from you. Okay, this is just an example of some of the things that we do and that we want to share with you guys. So feel free to go to this website and you can get a couple of those things. Are there any questions?
You did awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
I do. You call for hours. Who do you call for hours? Where do you get numbers?
Great question. So I started with for sale by owners and expireds. So those are the two that I call first.
Those lists don't change like daily, do they?
Yeah, they want to.
Every day there's a new for sale by owner and a new expired.
But not a lot, or is there?
There's not going to be 50 or 100 new ones every single day. No, that's true.
But then maybe need to be called the next week and then the week after that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So follow-up Wednesdays is part of following up with certain people, yet there's a lot of follow-up that's going on a daily basis. I also have Commissions Inc. as my CRM, so I have buyer leads and seller leads that are coming in every single day, so I'm calling those as well.
What's it called?
Commissions Inc. It's like a Boomtown or Real Geeks or whatever. There's a couple different CRM website platforms that you can purchase and bring you leads in. I'm also, one thing that I've started doing is the database 2. And so the database 2 is calling your database every quarter. So you're touching your database 4 times a year. Okay? And so I can send this out if you want to. Each week, I take 2 letters of the alphabet and I call the last names of my sphere of influence that start with those 2 letters. So that's another example of who do I call. Another thing I do too is I do a Facebook A to Z. And so I get on Facebook and I just go through whoever's on Facebook and I might just reach out, hey, was thinking about you, hope all's well, how are things going? Just start a conversation and have conversations with people about life in general, and I'll say, is there anything I can do for you from a real estate perspective? Are you looking for a vendor? How's everything going? Who can I connect you with? So those are people that I talk to as well.
Great question.
Can I piggyback real quick off that? There were 210 expired listings that came on the market on November 1st. So lots of times at the end of the month, that's when you'll have expires pop up. So there may be 50 or 100, but sometimes there are paydays if you just pay attention.
And it doesn't have to be an expired that just popped up today.
No, it could be expired from before, and certainly, you know, I'm looking at, as I'm driving around, I'm trying to figure out, okay, is there a FSBO that I'm not aware of that I didn't see on Zillow or whatever that I need to stop by and knock on their door too. Alright, so what's number 1? Step number 1, what is it? One listing appointment every single day.
No matter what.
No matter what, I love that. I love
On a FSBO or expired.
every single day. Make that a habit. Number 3.
Follow up Wednesday.
Wednesday. Number 4.
I have a buyer post.
I have a buyer post every single Wednesday at what time?
1 to 3 or Saturday late morning.
Number 5.
Every seller, every call your sellers, make contact.
Make sure you communicate with your sellers so they don't get alienized. You want to make sure that Gary Keller talks about every listing that we get should turn into how much business? At least 3 transactions, right? You want their business and you want a referral business and maybe a potential buyer to that as well. So if you continue to communicate at a high level with your clients, you are more likely to get referrals. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, number 6. Be creative. Be creative. Do what you have to do in order to find that listing appointment. Do what you have to do to find that listing to add to your tent. And then number 7.
Practice,
Practice, practice, practice. Absolutely. Alright, so I'm just going to ask for a couple of ahas because I know everybody heard things differently. I know things may have caught you differently than somebody else. So give me some ahas. Can you share some ahas from our discussion today? Yes.
Show up and be in the way for good things to happen.
Show up and be in the way of good things to happen. It's like not using the script that you don't use, you're not going to get anything, right? So be in the way of good things to happen. Yes?
No is not rejection.
No is not rejection. Thank you for sharing that.
Temper your expectations.
It's okay. Nobody starts at the top. Nobody starts at the top. I'll go over here and I'll come back. Put rejection into perspective, absolutely. And then Paul?
Yeah, no means just not now.
No means not now, ask me a different way, or I don't perceive the value that you're giving me, right? Awesome. Yes, ma'am?
Practice so that when you play, it's at a Hall of Fame level.
Oh, thank you for I have one little nugget that I forgot to hear. And it goes with practice, and I'll end on this note. Write this down. An amateur practices until they get it right. An amateur practices until they get it right. And a professional practices until they can't get it wrong. Thank you for sharing that.
I've got
What'd
one
you write
for
on
you.
the board there?
I've got one for you. No. Someone tells you no, going along with what Terrance said, sometimes it's because they don't know enough yet, right? And sometimes it's because they haven't met KW yet.
I love that. I love that. And
Once they know, they'll sign.
And another thing that I'll share, I thought you were going to write this up there, is the 4 SWs. Do you guys know what the 4 SWs are? You want to write that down real quick? And keep this in mind as you're talking to people and you hear no, or you hear not right now, or call me later, or whatever. Remember, some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Someone else is waiting. Okay? So just because somebody says no, don't let that bring you down, because there's somebody else that's waiting to talk to you that needs your help. Okay, great. Well, thank you guys very much for that.
Terrance, I have a challenge for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to pursue the path of Keller Williams Master Faculty.
Well, it is on my agenda for 2018 to take, what is it, Train the Trainer?
Don't you think he should go on that path?
Yes.
Absolutely awesome. And I would be glad to write a recommendation letter for such
I appreciate it. Thank you
things
guys.
to
I
happen.
hope you get something out of that.
Yay! Thank you all for coming. Go get 10 listings.
Go back to people.